I would say that this time I'm being good. I feel good because I've gotten out of a slump, let's just say. A lot of like retrospective looks at your life, what you're doing, how you operate, and then finding the places to make things better and then actually being on the path to making it better. Over the past 2 years, I lost my mom. Now, and prior to that, obviously, I lost my father like several years before that. So now I'm like really operating in the world as a full-on adult, and there's no one else for you to call and be like, yo, what should I do? Or am I doing the right thing? It's really like just being on your own. So navigating that space, navigating the space post-COVID of like operating with people whose views, skew from yours, everything's on Front Street, or, their how they how they've now adapted, having spent several years inside, like how they now relationships kind of shift. People leave the city. You know what I'm saying? New people move in, so now you're dealing with a whole new community of a whole new set of people in the city, and how you kind of relate to those new personalities. Then you also have, work stuff. When work's been slow as a creative solo entrepreneur, it's like, what am I doing? Like, the several gigs a year that I'm used to getting either isn't coming or the rates are way lower than I'm used to. So now what, how do I shift? How do I move? It's something that we all gotta face as humans, right? Like if we're living, you definitely came from two people and eventually those two people are gonna pass, but you never really know how it's gonna affect you. I mean, even if you see it happen to other people close to you, their experiences are always different from yours, or you can't really fully grasp the level of loss that you feel. And it's one of those things where it's a hole in which you don't ever feel you're gonna fill. You gotta get used to it being the hole that you live with now. It's never really gonna be filled. My mom was a very religious woman, and she would always want me to practice certain things, you know what I'm saying, spirituality, read your Bibles, to pray, all these things. And, I was always taking that as a grain of salt. I'm like, all right, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I feel you, blah, blah, blah. I know you're praying for me, so I'm good. And, taking that time out to, embrace the things that she always wanted you to do while she was here. And then you just take it and then you actually realize that, okay, there's a lot of good things that come out of this. There's a lot of good learnings to be taught from that. And then those learnings help you heal and help you cope with a lot of the losses. Being more mindful of yourself and like actually taking care of yourself definitely helps with helps with that loss, because it's like you realize that you weren't taking care of yourself because you always had that guardian that was there. And when you don't have that safety net anymore, you start to like really like be like, oh, okay, like I'm on my own now, so I gotta really like step up to what's the next level of like either adulthood, life, you know what I'm saying, dealing with life's pressures on your own and figuring things out. So, yeah, I think there's like a strength in that helps you like push forward. The only thing I feel like through like a wrench or through like me for a loop was that big ass pause that we had. That stopping moment where it's just like, you have all this momentum that you've been building and going with, and you're just used to just going. And so when you have to sit still with yourself, you're just like, damn, like, what am I really trying to do here? Or what was I doing for the past few years? You had like this big introspective moment. And so you're trying to look at all the things you did good, all the things you did bad, all the opportunities that you feel you could have done better with. You're just questioning mad shit at the same time. And I feel like that more than ever, that was the thing that I felt was I wouldn't even say stay distracting from like continuing on, but it was the thing that you have to like really pause and like reevaluate everything. And so like I feel like that was the biggest like setback as far as like figure out what the future was. But once you go through that, you now have a more clearer view of the future, and that's what I'm really grateful for, because like I now know like how I want to present myself moving forward, how I want to show up moving forward, and how to even strategize moving forward. I'm just getting over that hump, and I'm now like, all right, you know what you have to do, you know the steps that you need to take, and now you take it like step at a time. And I've never been like a very linear person, because like last thing I was like more of like a run and gun creative. I'm like, all right, I got that piece, this piece. all right, let's see what we do the day of and make it go. And now I'm gonna have a little bit more of like, I've been more like strategic in how I do my approach. Not only because I feel that it helps you to work with a team of people, but also it helps you scale in a sense of like I could do multiple projects at the same time if I do these five, let's just say 5 steps. If I do these 5 steps in sequence, I can get this one done in like half the time, this one in a third of a time, this one in a fourth of a time, and I could pass it on and delegate to people that could help me scale in that sense. So like those are the things that I've learned and how I'm like approaching creativity moving forward. People have looked at me to be a leader in certain things, and I've always shied away from it because being a leader comes with a burden, right? It comes a burden with like, I might let you down, I might fail you, or I might give you the wrong advice, or all this. And I never wanted to be that person where someone could ask me for shit and I'd be like, yeah, do this, and then it just falls flat on his face, and I'd be like, look at me like, yo, what happened? Like, you're supposed to like help me out. And so that's kind of why I always kind of shied away from it. But like the calling just keeps coming and coming and coming and coming and coming that I can't ignore it anymore. Because if I ignore it, I'm only doing a detriment to myself and to people that like are looking for me to like kind of help. So, that's a leadership role, something that I want to step into more. And like I said, part of that leadership role is being able to communicate your ideas and your thoughts, your process to other people so that they can help you scale too. So you have to learn how to be more efficient, and you have to be able to not so much get attention, but create something that sticks with people, that stays with people. I think that would be like the sweet spot. So now, as a creative who started off in photography and then leading into video, and then now I'm doing more creative direction stuff. So now I have to like fully evolve my creative process to apply to adhere to all these different kind of disciplines and be able to communicate that to other people as well. So it's like I don't think there's ever going to be a one faceted creative. Like you now have to be multifaceted if you're going to like enter this new space and be successful or be effective. So it's really about just like tapping into everything by little, but understanding like how to make all these disciplines work together. Like I said, in that retrospective time when I was just thinking about everything that I've done in the past, all the things that I felt I could do better, the reoccurring theme in me, what I was thinking about was like, you just should have just said the thing that you wanted to do, or you should have just fully committed to that shit and like not necessarily take people's consideration and people's thoughts or ideas into consideration, but like even if they had this statement that you knew wasn't gonna fit what you were trying to do, you should have been like, I like that idea. I think that it's really good, but it's not going to work for what I have envisioned for this process, right? And it's like there's a way to like communicate that I'm learning as I grow older, in order to like be able to still get your overall vision across, but still be able to be open to people's input. Not doing something creative has like never crossed my mind, and it's different when you have that in your head, or you have family being like, maybe you should get a job, or maybe you should do this. And then it's like, fuck, like they're around me looking at what I'm doing in my life, and like they see the burden that I'm under, and they're saying like, you should probably do this. And I'm just like, nah, like I'm gonna make something happen. I'm gonna make it work somehow. And I'm not gonna lie, to the grace of God, like something always came through. Something always happened. A friend would hit me up with an email, or an old colleague, or an old job from before would be like, hey, are you in town? And something would always pull through. I just had to hold it down, And that's why I think about like the ebbs and flows that I talked about earlier. It's about like, if you're able to ride the wave when it's down there, if you could just hold on, it's gonna like turn up. And it's always happened. I'm telling you, over the past of the 10 years, it's always been that way. If you're like still new in your career, it's definitely harder to like see through all of that. It's always like, damn, like I'm not doing enough. I see my peers doing better things or going up and doing that. And it's just like, you really gotta just like have a moment of just like looking at your own journey and being like, all right, they're doing that. That's just happening over there. But like, how do I solve this problem? And I think that being a creative really all boils down to that. Like, it's a problem solver. Like, this shit is happening to me in my life right now. Here are my problem sets. Like, how do I figure this shit out? Like, because there's plenty of times that I've gone to like sets or gone to jobs or been on calls, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be telling you on this call, or I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying, or I don't know how it's supposed to be set up. But like, you just gotta just figure it out. Like, and if you ever get in the mindset of like knowing like problem solving in the smallest bit of time that you have, then you can now get through anything. I've always been like the average student. Like, I was never was like the 4.0 GPA guy. I was the guy who came to class. I was there. I was like, I kind of like paid attention in class, but I went home and I wasn't like really studying that much. I wasn't the guy who was staying up all night figuring shit out. If I could get through it based on like sheer just talent, let's just say, then I was gonna do just that, and I was gonna skate through, and I'm gonna be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm like, all right, what does it look like to apply a little bit more to that? You know, like what is it to like, you know, give it more deeper thought to whatever discipline you want to apply it to, right? And that's kind of where I just landed right now. And then a lot of it was about problem solving. It's just like, all right, I got the test tomorrow. I'm gonna stay up tonight, study this chapter that I heard the teacher say that she was gonna go in on. All right, but I could do that. And you just find your little finesses. Part of growing up in New York is about like finding your finesse. Like, how am I going to get to my desired outcome? And you just find a way, to be honest. If it takes this person 10 hours to do, like, how can I do it in 5? You know what I'm saying? How to do it in 5 with the least amount of effort, with the least amount of money spent, like all that shit. Because that's where creativity really lies. It's about like getting to this like golden moment with the least amount of resources. That's why you go to the hood. The most brilliant people live in the hood because they're like, I don't got much, so I got to figure out how to do this, how to create that, how to make this. You know, it's about making something out of nothing, and it's like that's the same way you got to apply it. You know, people confuse it as being lazy, but it's really about being creative, giving an opportunity to someone who has a different perspective altogether, right? Because like, I'm not gonna lie, after you climb up, you've done a lot of brand stuff, you get a little jaded, to be honest. You be like, yo, in order for me to get this idea off, I need like 30K, 50K, 60K to do blah, blah. And it's like, you go back to when you first started, it's like, I did something just as cool, if not cooler than that, and I had no money. So it's like, you have to really go back and forth with that as far as like adding new perspectives and empowering new creatives, as well as being able to have your experience in order to like cut out all the bullshit that they might have to deal with while on their way there, right? Because the sweet spot is really about having the youth and the OGs together, because I can save you from doing the same mistakes I made, and you can come through with a whole new perspective that I kind of like am blinded to or I don't see. I start with New York first and then the world, like, you know, a little bit after, but like, what is the next evolution of this city? What does it look like? You know what I'm saying? People have come here on the like, off the myth or the lore that is New York, you know, and now they're here now. And now we have this grand shift that's in the city. And it's like, there are gaps and there's holes that's happening right now. Like, who's gonna fill them? Who's gonna be telling the stories in New York and keeping the light, you know, the fire burning that is New York, you know what I'm saying? So it's really about like seeing how this is gonna shift. And this shift's not only happening here, right? The shift is happening in different cities around the world, different countries too. So it's like, I can only see it from this perspective, but like, I'm pretty sure like the people who are in like London or Sao Paulo or Tokyo, like they're going through the same thing. It's just like, it's up to whatever generation that's next up to kind of like carve out what the city is and what's gonna look like. It's definitely helped me to learn more about myself, especially when I do solo travel too, right? Like, I love traveling with my friends, stuff like that, but the solo travel moments are the ones where I'm like, I'm put in an environment that I'm not used to, that I don't know, and now I really got to use my brain power to be like, all right, how am I going to figure this out? Whether it's the language, whether going to the neighborhood that I feel like I'm going to be more at home at, discerning different personalities and people, right? Because, you know, you're a foreigner, so it's like, it's other people trying to help you or they're trying to get at you. So it's like, you got to figure out people and learn how to read them. You know what I'm saying? That's another one thing. And then just visually, right? If you go to a new beautiful place, like, I mean, New York has been my home for all my life, and sometimes I find myself a little bit jaded. So I go out and I walk to take street photos, and I'm like, saying nothing over here. But then when I travel, I'm like, brand new scene. I'm out here with my camera all day, and then when I come back to New York, I still got that energy left over to kind of like look at my city at a new lens. So travel has been like a huge, huge, huge inspiration. And like I said, ideas pop off when I'm over there somewhere new too. I'm often reminded about that when I'm in like certain rooms, and then they'll just like they'll mention like a thing about some foreign country or whatever, and then like I was like, oh yeah, I've been there before, and I was like, oh, I know that spot you're talking about, blah blah, and they're kind of surprised because then like they expecting like a New York dude from Queens to be able to go over there or see these things, you know what I'm saying? And I sometimes take that for granted too. I'm just like, yeah, like people in my hood are not going to like Thailand or going to Tokyo or going to Bali and stuff like that. Like they're not really going there like that. So I definitely always have to like be very grateful for that, and most of my travels have been because of my camera too, right? So it's not even on some like I came from like a really rich upbringing where I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna go on a plane and go here. It's just like my camera, being talented at what I do, has allowed me to like visit other places or has given me that like that insight to want to go to other places. I want to use this word because I feel like the word got just so abused over time, is like the word community, right? Like it got so abused. So I'm just like, what is the most authentic presentation of that, right? Because it's a buzzword right now, right? Brands want to hear community, it is, da, da, da. But like, what is the more authentic version of that look like? Because before we used to just do it organically, like, oh, okay, you over here, I must link you over here, blah blah blah. We don't link up, go here, go there, da, da, da. And that's how it just happened. And now I feel like it's been so commodified right now that like people are not genuine in their community groups now. So now if you go to something else, it's like, I'm here. It's supposed to be the thing. Like they got the right music there. I mean, the lighting, maybe the artwork is maybe a little bit, but like when I'm in there, the vibe is off. Like the people are, either they're either like posing to be there, are very new to this, to whatever it is, and they're trying to learn, are paid to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's another thing too. So it's like you really have to find what that authentic version of it is. And I think that version isn't even broadcast right now. Like you're not gonna really see it. Like you got to go deep, 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 deep to find it. And yeah, that's like, I guess that's what makes it more fun, right? Like you got to go search for it now. I have different reasons for documenting. I would say you document for the people that come after you, right? You document as a way of appreciating the people who are there with you presently, and you document it as a proof that you were alive, I mean, hopefully, like my hard drives don't burn down, lose all my footage and shit. Like, hopefully that doesn't happen. But like, as I capture every day, it's a reminder that I lived, that I did something, yeah, I mean, like humankind has been documenting shit forever, so it's just kind of almost ingrained in you. I'm a big overthinker. I overthink a lot of shit, and I feel like it slows my process down a little bit, especially when you realize that you've put in the work to be who you are and to think the thing that you think and to trust those intuitions. So I definitely tell people to just like not overthink it, just attack it, do it, whatever which way it goes, just do it, because you have a finite amount of time here, and it's better to have said that you've tried than to not have tried at all. 2016, I would say, because 2016 was the year I had my first real big contract as a photographer. I was signed to be a photographer for Adidas. They were shooting with MLS campaigns, so I was like on a 6-month contract. Like I didn't have to do no other jobs but that job. It was fantastic. I'm like, y'all picked me to do this? I'm like, perfect. Like, I'm like, I really am that guy. So I was like, all right, perfect. So 2016, I would say like, was that year. My boy Will, my boy Zach, my boy Javi, we did like this campaign with Adidas called Goodbye Summer. And it was like a nationwide campaign. It was like New York, LA. We did galleries in both cities. we gave out film for free to like our community to go out and capture their summer. And we put people's work into a gallery. You know, one of them was Beyond the Streets, which was like a huge gallery for like street art. And then we did one in LA at this crazy ass house in the hills. And the moment that I was most proud about that one was in New York. You know, I was able to invite my family to it. It was when I felt like, I was like, oh, my family can come out to this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, live in Far Rock, it's mad deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to just come out to the city for no reason, right? So like, this is the ones like, yo, I'm kind of proud of this shit. Like, come out for this, blah, blah, blah. And then they came and they saw it, you know? And so my mom was still around and she was just like, who are you type shit? Cause like, there's people here coming up to me, talking about me and shit like that. I'm just like, yeah, like this whole time that I've been in the city running around, trying to do shit, meet with people, blah, blah. Like this is what I was trying to cultivate this whole time. And I felt like that was like one of the first moments where I really realized that she got what I was doing, you know? And that was like my most proudest moment, I would say.